Have you ever seen the movie Role Models with Paul Rudd? It's so underrated. Look at the cast. You've got Stifler from American Pie, McLovin from Superbad, and of course Paul freaking Rudd. You know what made Role Models even more epic? The whole LARPing thing. Seriously, why don't more movies have that? Imagine if every rom-com or action movie had a random LARPing scene. Instantly better. But I digress. So for those of you that don't know, this channel is about helping you become a better version of yourself. Along the way, we will be touching on topics of self-improvement. Sometimes I may read a page or two from my personal journal, as I will be doing today. Other times I will be sharing my words of wisdom on various topics. Today we have a page from my journal about my struggle with growing up without a role model, and how I overcame it, and how you too can overcome a similar situation. Let's begin. Growing up, I didn't have a role model. This longing for guidance still haunts me even today. I was a lost kid maneuvering through life's labyrinth without a lighthouse. This is a tale born from the lack of direction, which was my life's narrative, being confused, full of despair and anxiety, yet also resilience and triumph. To me, the world became an untouched canvas, and I, the lone artist. This was daunting yet freeing. I carved my own path and sketched my own success. There were no footsteps to follow, no blueprint to guide me, and trust me, if I could do it, so can you. The lack of a role model placed me at the mercy of the world. I wandered like a ship without a lighthouse in sight. The confusion was my companion, as a young kid trying to understand manhood without a clear image. I had no blueprint. Piecing together fragments of masculinity from my surroundings was like assembling a puzzle with missing pieces. I made mistakes, tripped over unseen obstacles, and made unwise decisions. But with no one to point out the pitfalls, I learned the hard way. Each scar was a harsh lesson. In my search for a role model, I myself mirroring false idols, I learned that not all that glitters is gold, and imitation is a pale substitute for authenticity. The absence of guidance left me feeling unanchored, wandering aimlessly, hoping to find the right path by luck. But life requires direction, purpose, and intentionality. But despite these struggles, I learned, I grew, I evolved. I realized to forgive myself and others, and I want to share with you how I managed to chart my own course, to find my own true north in the midst of chaos. There came a point in my life when I realized I no longer wanted to play victim to the world, or allow the cards I was given to define me. It was an epiphany, a moment of self-realization that transformed me. I stood on the cusp of a significant revelation, peering into the vastness of my untapped potential. A compelling force urged me towards my undiscovered greatness, waiting to be explored. So I decided, rather than seeking guidance externally, I started looking inward. I'm going to repeat that. Rather than seeking guidance externally, I started looking inward. I realized no one would be coming to save me. I took accountability for my own life, making decisions one at a time, each steering my life towards the path I was paving. I began to mold my future, not as a counter to what I lacked, but as a reflection of my aspirations. I sought wisdom, not just from academia, but from the world. Life is great at presenting us with opportunities to grow and mature. I started to adopt qualities I revered, to represent the principles I cherished. I found I could be resilient, compassionate, kind, even in adversity, courageous amidst fear, and hopeful during despair. I discovered I could motivate others, not merely by being myself, but by the person I resolved to be. I realized that I had the power to create my own path, to be my own role model. I found that the best role model I could ever have was the person I decided to become, and so I became. From then on, I took charge of my life and started achieving my dreams. I was finally mastering the art of independence, leaving behind a life of uncertainty. Now I dared to dream and toil towards a future I envisioned. I landed my first job, marking a significant milestone in my career. It was a small, yet significant victory towards my financial independence. My triumphs weren't entirely materialistic. There was emotional growth too. I evolved to appreciate the solitude and the strength it brings, learning to be my cheerleader and celebrating every victory, however small they were. Naturally, self-doubt crept in from time to time, but I swiftly countered it with the affirmation that I was the captain of my ship, charting my course amidst turbulent times and leading it towards calmer shores. I started forming genuine bonds, not out of need, but out of the desire to connect. I found friends who became my chosen family, supporting and challenging in my journey. They helped me redefine my narrative, transforming it from a tale of struggle into a saga of victory. The absence of a role model no longer defined me. It was my resilience and my journey that did. I was no longer a ship lost at sea. I was the captain of my own journey. Growing up without a role model taught me valuable lessons. It was a journey that made me who I am today. The first lesson was about self-reliance. Without any guide, I had to be my own compass, my own counsel. This tough process instilled in me confidence and an understanding of my abilities. It made me realize that I was stronger than I thought. Second lesson was resilience. Life's challenges seemed enormous. However, I learned to weather the storm and bounce back from adversity. I understood that failure was not the end, but a stepping stone to success. Resilience, I learned, was the key to overcoming any hurdle. The third lesson was self-belief. I had to find belief within myself, believe in my potential, my worth. I had to convince myself that I was worthy of achieving greatness amidst the circumstances. And once you start believing in yourself, there's no stopping you. These lessons made me stronger and more self-reliant. They shaped me into the person I am today, and for that I am grateful. I wouldn't change my journey for the world. I learned to be my own beacon of light, guiding myself through the darkness. Today I stand before you not as a person who lacked a role model, but as a person who became his own role model. Charting my own course was challenging, yet instrumental in my growth. Absence of a role model meant learning my own mistakes. Each trial was a stepping stone towards self-discovery, making me resilient and self-reliant. It taught me self-belief. I learned it's not about the situation, but your response. I responded with grit and perseverance, rising above circumstances, fueling my growth, and thriving on my terms made me my own role model. I am not a product of my circumstances, I am a product of my decisions. So, if you've made it this far in the video, please subscribe and leave a like to help us out. But in all seriousness, imagine a LARPing heist movie. Ocean's 11, but with LARPing. They planned the perfect medieval-themed robbery. Hollywood needs to get on this. LARPing would be like the spice that makes any movie dish way more flavorful. It's time to LARP up the big screen and give the people what they didn't even know they needed.